Ms. Pede's on the phone. She'll be with us shortly, so I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 4:35. First item up is approval of the agenda. If you have it pulled up on your computer, everybody take a quick look at it, see if there's anything that we need to add or delete. Anything you have on? Anything, Lisa, everything, the updates are on here, right?
Everything should be there.
Okay.
Move approval, sir.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we have an agenda. Board meeting minutes from our last meetings. You have them under item 3.1, and there's about 4 sets, so hopefully you've already had a chance to look over those. And then we will entertain a motion to approve those. And here's Ms. P.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I need to recuse myself
Okay.
from voting.
For all of those, or, yeah, they're all the same day, aren't they? Okay. Okay, that's fine.
I move we approve the minutes.
Okay, I hear a second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Takes us to no action, and the first item up is CTE update, and Wendy will be doing that for us. Okay.
We can look at a video.
It's got an attachment, hasn't it? That means we get to move probably.
Sit above our head. It's the same attachment. Actually, can we pull this up on our
Yeah, I
laptop?
can see it right here, but can everybody see above my head if I lean over just a little bit?
Can you still get it
Okay.
back there?
I was
Okay.
just going to try to show a video to start with. Miss Sarah Hodges put this together for our Firefighting EMT Academy at Southside.
I might better watch the video. I will move this to video.
I apologize, I am not familiar with getting this video to play on here. I thought that this could show you the academy much better than I could say anything. wanted to show that to you all so that you could see the Fire Academy in action. This is actually going to be a recruitment video that we will be utilizing for next year's registration as well. We have had a great deal of success with our Firefighting EMT Academy. We've done the firefighting this year. Next year we plan to add the EMT portion of this. And we'll talk about credentials in just a few moments, but this particular program is responsible for 141 credentials so far this year. Each module has credentials that go along with it. Also, I wanted to talk about next year new programs we're going to be having at Northside. We are revitalizing the automotives program next year, and we are adding in advanced manufacturing, which is a piloted course actually across the state. And so we are having, hopefully Mr. Roger Woolard will be teaching that next year. That's the plan right now, is to bring that advanced manufacturing and start working towards that with our students. The startups will be funded by the Governor's Innovation Grant, also known as the EWIF grant. And also, as we continue with the programming, CTE will pick up the continuation cost so it doesn't just go away. Very quickly, CTE accomplishments so far for this year. We've had 850 confirmed credentials. Actually, we had almost 1,100 total for the entire of last year. As you can see, our firefighting has helped step that up somewhat, and our teachers are increasingly becoming more successful with the credentialing of students. We've had 148 articulated credits so far. That means that the credits they're taking in high school will count for college, community college credit. Also, our concentrator graduation rate is 93.4% for 2013-14. If you don't know what a concentrator is, I've given a definition here. Those students are the ones who have 3 foundation courses and 1 enhancement course, and that has to include a level 2 CTE course in that pathway. So we're very proud of that concentrator graduation rate. And then I wanted to speak briefly about the Pharmacy Tech program. We launched that this spring. It is being taught by a teacher at Southside High School. However, we are teaching students from across our district. It's sort of our own pilot in some ways this year. We're teaching 5 from Southside, 1 from Washington, and 11 at Northside High School. These students will actually come out of this program, hopefully, with the credential to be a pharmacy tech, which has quite a bit above minimum wage as their starting salary for that position. So these students will start out at a very big advantage. The cost to us is about $500 per student, so it is not a cheap endeavor. We ask students to be very mindful that this is a serious pursuit, but they will start out at about $15 an hour when they come out of this program. And I've spoken to you briefly before about career readiness certificates. Those are available to all of our concentrators at no cost. The state of North Carolina pays for them to take work keys test, which gives the CRC credential. And a lot of our employers are starting to look at that. We're actually trying to become a work-ready community. The link here is the link to the Beaufort County Community College webpage that tells about CRCs. It has a couple of videos. I didn't want to go through all of those with you, but also if you have a business, and anyone who may be watching, if you have a business and you could prefer a CRC, we're trying to get 61 businesses in Beaufort County to sign on to this to be have preferred CRC as part of their hiring practices, and then we can be that's one of the things we can do to become a career-ready community. And then finally, just a breakdown of our CRC results. These are becoming increasingly important. You can see our proficiency rate is up from last year quite a bit. We have had a few more take the test than they did last year, but we are excited about the actual proficiency rate on these. Those are just a few of the highlights from CTE, and if you have any questions, I'll try to answer any of those.
Any questions?
Thank you.
How many students are enrolled in the Firefighter Academy?
About 50 to 60 per semester. in various classes. He teaches 3 classes each semester. We're hoping to get that number up. You know, as you're building programs, you're always working for those numbers. And so that's one reason we have the video. And for the ones that are going into Northside next year, we've also done brochures that they can have at the nights, the curriculum nights at the schools, and help with the recruitment there.
When they graduate from the Fire Academy as seniors, if they have successfully completed all the modules, will they be fully credentialed in order to apply for work at a fire department, or will they still have to?
They still will have to sit for the full test once. They have to be at least 18 years old, and most of our folks are when they graduate. We're kind of crossing those barriers as we get there. If we have some that are already there, we will work with them to try to get that credential for them prior to them graduating. Same thing with pharmacy tech. Actually, you have to be 18 in order to sit for the test, and that's one reason we kind of restrict the pharmacy tech to seniors. So we'll have to work with the students as they go through our fire academy.
So they do not have to be 18 to take those courses. They have to be 18 in order to take the exam required.
Yes, ma'am.
Couple comments. The CRCs that you see listed there, to me, are as important of any of the standardized tests that we get, because these are portable certificates and credentials that a student can carry with them into the workplace, and this shows that they truly know the content of what they're training to do to be professionally. So we're proud of our students' success there, and the fact that we keep pushing that proficiency number up, and we also increase the number of CRCs that we've earned. Terry asked me a question that the automotive and advanced manufacturing program that we want to start at Northside High School, we're working with the community college with the notion that they've got a program at the community college. We don't want to duplicate what they're doing. We're going to work with the community college to make sure that our students who go through this program are ready for what the community college has to offer. But if we can add something that the community college doesn't have, it allows us to leverage resources with one another. So we've been partners along the way. But Wendy, I've got a question. The pharmacy tech, the students from the other high schools, are they physically attending school at which campus?
They're at their own campuses. The Northside students are at Northside. The Washington student is at Washington. We have leveraged some of our online resources using Schoology and some of the other things to be able to teach those online. Now, Mr. Taplin and I did actually go do an orientation at Northside since they had the largest number of students, and it's new, and we were working through some bugs, and so we're kind of working on the pilot of how we need to approach those types of courses.
The reason I asked that, Mr. Cole had asked me to come to you all and just ask if you would be willing to allow us to pursue having students in the other 2 high schools, at Washington High School and at Northside, participate in the Fire Academy but not have to become fully enrolled at Southside. And that would be that they choose to do that with their own transportation. We're providing transportation, but if a student wants to go, and they can provide their own transportation, but they want to remain in their home school, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't allow them to do that. But if you'll allow me to pursue that and ask questions of the principals, we'll move forward with that. That may help us get a few other students that would like to be involved, but they don't want to leave their home school.
That'd be a good idea.
Okay.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Take us up to, we'll let them get their stuff right quick. Cutler Field, and Don, I think that's going to be, well, who is that going to be?
Well, Coach Sawyer is here, and I've got Stan Hudson and Russ Gerganis, and we've got Athletic Director John Sharpenberg from Washington High School, and I thought we just want to share with you where we're at and what we've been doing. If you all four would, whoever wants to come up to the podium, just in case you have some questions that we'd be able to address. Kugler has been a topic since before I came, and I've been here a little bit more than 5 years, and we've talked about it and done a lot of things with the Washington Youth Football League and the City of Washington, but we've recently had a need that's developed with the women's soccer team at Washington High School in terms of being able to play and the condition of the football field right now and the heavy rains that we've had and some of the overseeding that's going to be done around spring break on the football field. And the question came up about any alternative play-in areas. And Kugler came up, and they went out and did some practicing and actually have had a game out there. And it's draining very well, seems to be field-wise in good shape. But we didn't want to jump into that long-term because of the conversations that we've had, and I certainly didn't want to engage in anything for an entire sports season without coming and talking with you all. The city is aware that we're looking at it, and they certainly are okay with that. But if we're going to use it as a facility for games, there are a couple things that I wanted to let you know, and we've got some decisions that we have to make. Title IX concerns of gender discrimination obviously come up in play, but I think the boys team may be interested, or the men's team may be interested in playing and having practice there as well when their season rolls around. So it may be some significant use that we could be looking at if we could work that out. But the facilities at Kugler, as you all are aware, are not in top-notch shape. In fact, Russ went over with folks from the city and Stan as well. When we turned the water on, stuff busted, water started to run. There's significant work that needs to be done there. If we're going to hold games at that place, we've either got to put porta potties in or we've got to get the plumbing fixed. And there's a cost involved in that, which is minimal cost. The other part is that our lawyers and insurance carriers have told us if we have any activity at Kugler Field, we have to remove the bleachers. And the bleachers are being used by the Washington Youth Football League because their insurance provider said it was okay for them to use them. So we're sort of in a stuck situation. We could block off, put tape around the bleachers and not let anybody get on them. But if we do that, we're going to have to bring in some type of a portable bleacher to go for spectators to sit. And I went to the first soccer game, I guess last week, John?
Yes.
And there probably were, I would estimate, between 75 and 100 people at least there. So there was a pretty good turnout. So you'd have to have more than just, you know, one small set of bleachers. So there's a cost involved in that. We might be able to borrow some from somewhere and put them over there temporarily. But if we're talking about boys and girls playing, then you're going to have them there a longer period of time. The more we talk, the more dollars come into play. But if it's a viable playing surface and an alternative field, it may be something that we want to look at. But just wanted to share. John, you want to give an update of, I don't know if you've met with the parents yet or what the feeling is there at the school?
Yeah, well, after we talked on Thursday, I met with actually both head coaches, soccer coaches. We went down at Thursday night, as you recall, we had a rather large rainstorm. And Friday we walked on the Kugler Field and we walked on our football field. There's a vast difference between the drainage. A lot of it has to do with sand and other things. But both coaches, the women's soccer coach, said at first, and this is his words, not mine, but he really thought that obviously the girls having their own facility, and after being there for a couple of weeks, they really are liking the fact that they're wanting to be there. This isn't my decision. I just want to, one of the reasons why we moved to Kugler is, we have 6 varsity sports and 2 JV sports. So when you start canceling games because of rain and other weather events, that becomes problematic because you just can't move it to a day because there might be, our track uses our football field. So to give you an update, we're kind of at the point, both coaches are really excited about the possibility, again, not jumping ahead of ourselves, but the possibility of using Kugler Field as a soccer facility. And from there, we would have plans to meet with the parents and get their input because, not just saying this is what we're going to do. We really want their input, the pluses and minuses. There are definite drawbacks to going to Kugler Field, but there's some definite positives. So what I'm looking for is your direction or which way you want to go. And we talked about this, I think we're all in agreement, is we just need to make a decision and then go from there and figure out the logistics from that point. So.
I want to stress, Coach Sawyer has pointed out that he does see the football field as an athletic field for Washington High School and is not saying that teams can't get on it. That's not what this is about. The issue is that the drainage on the field this time of year is just not good, and they would have canceled some games already had they not had the ability to go to Kugler. But if we're going to have games there, we've got to work through some things. And there's going to be some expense. Now, we may be able to talk to some of the other groups that would use the field around during the season and see if they would pitch in and help with the bleachers. Bleacher costs, Russ helped me. We were looking at bleachers that would be like 5 levels high, not big bleachers at all, that would seat up to 30 people that cost about $995, I think is right. We said if we could get 5 of those in place for $5,000, and we want to put a net back behind the soccer nets because the short time that I was there, I saw several balls go into people's yards. And we don't need people crossing traffic doing that. But we're looking probably at a couple $1,000s for nets. We're looking at about $1,500 to get the plumbing and everything set. So you're looking at somewhere between $7,500 and $10,000 probably total, everything complete to have things done. But that does not get to the issue of removing the bleachers. And we'd have to find out whether or not putting some type of a tape or barrier up so that nobody could get on them would absolve us of any liability that we might be looking at if we had an event there. So. we talked about it. We had never had any intent of using it, but something has sort of landed in our lap here of a real need, and it seems to be an area that would work for us. But I don't want to take any more steps without talking with you all. We've talked with the Washington Youth Football League. We've talked with the city of Washington. But we're right now at a point we've got to make a decision. If we just play there and play our games at the high school field, then we don't have to add all the stuff. We don't have to do quite as much.
That was going to be my question. Is it such that the field, that Wagner Stadium is going to be in good enough shape to have a game there, and yet they can practice at Kugler, and that keeps some of the daily wear and tear? Because practice is every day, am I right?
Yes. You're
Okay,
correct.
and a game is, you're going to host a game. You may have 2 games a week, but you're going to probably just host 1 game at the most a week?
Generally, you'll either host in a 2-week period, you'll host 3 games in a 2-week period. So 1 week you might host twice, the next week you'll only host once. But as an average, you'll play about 6 home games a month. So.
Because we did look at, those of us that did the tour, and the field is very, very wet, and we saw a lot of things. Coach Sawyer showed us a lot of things, and we saw a lot of things, when we walked away on our own. So it is in bad shape, but bad weather, and thankfully we used it a little bit longer this year to play football. So all those things I know, come into play. But is it possible? Do you think, Coach Sawyer, if you're trying to reseed it and do those things over spring break, then to me it just sounds like even using it to host a game would really undo what you're trying to do.
Well, we had track practice. They're doing it now before we came out here, and it's much drier. It's supposed to rain Wednesday and Thursday. There can be home games out there this year. And as far as football, the field maintenance, it's going to take some time. It's not going to be a couple of weeks period. So if they had games out there, there would be a problem. There's some concerns the soccer coaches they have on the extremities that y'all saw and stuff. But if they wanted to play games there, because last night we had the football banquet, and I had a couple parents come to me, and I don't think, well, some of them were talking about we're going to be back out there playing at Easter. And so, okay, there's a misconception kind of that I've told them, or football's told them they cannot be on it. And that is, I told them, no, we have not said that. I mean, I had to speak 30 minutes to some parents last night. And so they can get on it as far as, it's not going, they can, that's y'all's decision on where they choose to play though. And I do understand that as Kozik, for example, he has to practice in the baseball outfield. Right now, out there when the practice field is very, very wet, so soccer is practicing over at Kugler. If that was dry, I do understand the guys wanting their own facility to practice and maybe play games. So I do understand that, but that's y'all's decision and their decision. And as far as football, again, we're not telling them they cannot play on that field at all.
And what's the timing on this, already?
They've had 1
Yeah,
game.
you've already playing.
Yeah, we've had 1 game. Our next home game is scheduled for Thursday, so whatever decision y'all make at this point will impact that. The game, there was a game today, we moved it to North Lenore.
Can't move that fast.
Just so we wouldn't be.
But this is under no
It's
action.
under no action here tonight anyway, so.
But you're needing action, or you need an answer.
I'd like to know how much money we're talking about.
It sounds like up to 10,000.
I figured you had a folder.
Mr. Mack, I've done some investigating. I've tried to put it into 2 different, I don't know, did you send the email out?
No, I haven't had a chance to do anything.
Well, it's just real brief. It can get to major expense, but I've kind of broke it down to what what it would cost us just to practice versus a game. The good thing, it could go either way. There's enough available space out there to have almost 2 regulation fields if we move some fences and stuff. Some of the fences are safety liabilities, but I can see as far as holding games out there that could be a possibility. Right now for practices, we are $500 is what it's going to bring up just to bring the restrooms up to par for the soccer players to use them. That's some light fixtures that need to be replaced. The alternative to that would be bring porta-johns, but you would have to understand that it is a porta-john. Also, the maintenance department would haul the goals back and forth from practices to games. So we have to put that in consideration. The city is in lease from March 1 to August 6, I think. I know it starts for sure March 1st. So if we're on it all the time, practicing, possibility of playing games, and that's the only reason that it's supposed to be available at the city's beck and call, and their deal is to mow the grass. So if we take it over, we're gonna need to make sure that the grass stays mowed and trimmed down. So that's basically what I got as far as just being able to practice. I mean, I can go into huge detail with you as far as what it could possibly be, but I'll leave that up to you.
Is there another place for them to practice? Coach Sawyer talked about back there by the baseball field.
That's the biggest problem in the spring because of the amount of moisture you get in the winter and the practice field. To be honest with you, Washington High School, what's below the surface of the athletic playing fields is clay. And if you've ever been around clay, it doesn't drain. So the water just stays and stays and stays. And what really hurts grass is standing water. Mm-hmm. So that's why we're having trouble getting grass to grow. You know, that it's really has to do about drainage. And I don't see, you know, the practice field right now, that's for this year, it wouldn't be an option to even practice there. Because it is so.
It is the overburden from the Washington High School project. It's all the bad soils that was removed from the original construction, and it was put back there, and it was changed to a practice field. Originally, it was just an overburden dump site of all the unusable dirt.
That's
so
right.
That's what they're practicing on.
Well, I mean, I realized when I said the timing, because I thought you already played. So I understand what you're on timing, but as far as us making a decision tonight, we don't have any files in front of us to make a decision on. So there's nothing, I mean, you know, if you want to, depending on what the board says, if you want to come and put something together and get back to us, but we don't have any figures or anything to really make an action on. I mean, I hear exactly what you're saying. Maybe somebody needs to put a recommendation back to us, and I'm just saying this for the board to see what they say. Put a recommendation of what you'd like for us to look at approving and how much it's going to cost, and actually give us something to do that on.
I think that's what I wanted tonight. I knew we didn't have time and weren't going to present anything to you for approval, but before we take any more steps, now that we know kind of what we're dealing with, if you're okay with us looking at a proposal and coming up with hard figures, we'll work on
okay with that. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, just put
We'll
something.
meet again in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, just put something before us, and
Right.
we'll take a look at it.
Have something in writing in 2 weeks.
What is your plan for Thursday?
If in the meantime, we will play, we'll have we'll play the games up at Wagner Stadium because it did dry out. It has dried out.
We have a meeting on the 16th. We have a budget meeting on the 16th. We can bring it
Just
back.
so we don't come into safety concerns with the bleachers, the condemned bleachers. They're going to continue to practice at Cougar Field. We'll play our home games up at Wagner Stadium until we can get some feedback or get some hard figures for y'all. I think that'll be good for us. It'll be good for good for you. But you know, I want to just the reason we're here tonight is we need to think about what we're going to do coming down the road because this isn't a problem that's going to just exist in 2014-15 school year. It's going to be.
I didn't want the board to hear that we had things going on school related at Cougar when you knew that we weren't using Cougar. So all this has sort of transpired in a couple of weeks. So we're just trying to keep you up to date. We have a budget meeting on the 16th. We can come back with a recommendation proposal.
That's only a week.
We needed some direction whether we want to go with porta potties on site for them for their practice, whether to spend the $500 and some to fix the current toilet. So about $75 a week, I think, for the porta john.
Can we decide that once we go through your capital update?
Yes, sir.
Well, let me ask you this. Don't hurt to ask anyway, what I'm getting ready to say. How about could we extend a offer to the city to see if they would go in half on the bathroom facilities? Since they use it too? Oh, I forgot I was on camera. Forget that, city.
Well, Mac, I think the city and the Washington Youth Football League, we need to approach them. But I think the way the lease is written up, there's supposed to be a walkthrough period when the property changes hands for that 6 month period of time. And whoever holds it right then, if there's any damage or anything that needs to be fixed, there's a responsibility. So I would hope that someone would want to come with us and partner to do just the basic stuff at least that we're talking about.
Yeah, I think that would be the noble
Right thing to do.
We'll deal with all that and then bring that information back to you on Monday.
All right.
Well, if they're gonna continue to have practice this week, they're gonna need facilities. And, I mean, do we need to wait another week to make a decision on them having bathroom? I mean, the girls got to go go to the bathroom somewhere.
So the washing room are using.
I think for right now, well, we don't, not supposed to make a decision.
That's, yeah, we've approved the agenda and it's
No
stuck in a
action.
no action
Right.
point right now. So we can't change it in the middle of the stream.
But you're saying the bathrooms are usable, but
I don't know
for
what
the
you're saying.
public, they're not?
No, ma'am, there is no working facilities, no facilities.
Because I thought the youth league put a lot of work into the facility out there.
They did some at one time, but they did not properly winterize it this past, all this code we had.
So that was yeah.
But technically, they're nonprofit, so they have no money anyway to fix the school board that's now broken over facilities.
What does a portable toilet cost?
$75 a week, I think what it is.
For one.
For one, yes, ma'am.
And they're using the fields
that-
this week.
Now, I was getting ready to say, that's a cost of an item that you don't need approval from us for. You need to talk to the superintendent about that, because that's already approved as a policy of us, that can be handled without asking us.
We
So
take
you
care, we
don't
take
need
care
a
of practice,
decision
and we'll
from
take care of
us.
that, yeah.
Good deal.
Thank
So
you.
take care of it.
We will take care of it. Anything
But-
else?
Yeah, put your plan back together and we'll be here in a week. I guess, Dan, you can just step a little closer to the front because you're up next, capital update.
Ms. Lisa, did you get a chance to send the email?
You've got two things on here, Bath Elementary and a capital. Which one you want us to look at?
Bath Elementary is our first one that's related to capital. It's an item that was pre-approved, budgeted item that our cost overseed in any form due to the cost of the Versa Shield. In my written letter, I actually had the quotes. I think the quotes were attached to the individual quotes. But to do the area that's needed, and some of y'all saw on the Capitol tour, that even the tile is coming up in the vestibule or the entryway. We definitely need to start some way. It's a safety concern. Just the thing is, how much do we want to go over our budget, or what do y'all want to approve in that to, I can go far as we need to. That whole building really needs to be, which it will be dressed in our 15-16 capital. But what we currently, the quote I have is for $9,858. If you break it down by room, it's $3,286 per room. But I think we only have $5,000
What do we set
budgeted.
aside for that? 5,000.
Bath, I think it's 5,000. Bath
Yeah,
Elementary.
budget, I see it at the bottom.
Yes, sir, 5,000. That's
But after
correct.
our tour, they need cameras worse than they need a tile.
Okay. I see you got a 98, I'm trying to read it as it runs
Yes,
across
sir.
my screen in small segments here. And it's got 9858, 5,000 budget, and it's got 276128. What's that figure?
The 27, that was the cost of the Versa Shield.
There it is.
And now you know why she recused herself from it.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure the public knew that.
Right, yes.
I'm
yeah, do
recusing
that
myself
on camera.
from this decision, since it involves
Well,
a bid from a business I'm affiliated with. We're not being considered, but it's up there, so.
I was showing that we did come up with a fairly equal price. They're not price gouging, it's the price of the product has escalated. And the Versa Shield is the big cost in this thing. And what it does is stop the hydraulics. It stops water from coming through the floor and causing the problem that we currently have with tile just popping off the floor due to all this rainy weather we have. They guarantee, and I think Versa Sal's got a 20-year warranty on that product. So it's definitely a good investment. The thing is, for this year, that we just want to spend the $5,000 that we currently have budgeted. We probably just will do the entryway, and we have one classroom that is really, really bad. So it's the direction on.
so do you want to come back Monday night and ask for a vote on
Yes,
this?
sir.
Does anybody need any questions that they want to ask them, so we have all the information to look over till then? Well, I thought I heard something.
Can you explain the difference in the
Yeah.
proposals? Because I see one that has multiple things, and then there are three separate proposals. How are they compared to one
I'm having a hard
another?
time figuring it out.
They're very close to the three proposals. The three proposals was for the three separate areas that was proposed. The one proposal, he just did a common area of the total area, the same area, same square footage, but he just didn't break it down to three separate quotes. It's still the same square footage. So if you take the three proposals and add together, it comes up, $11,012. The single proposal was $9,858. But the question is how much over 5,000, or do we just want to spend the 5,000? That will be the question for 16th, I assume.
Let me ask you something.
Yes, sir.
Have you got any projects that you know that we're gonna be coming under bid that we could go ahead and get this job done from saving from another project? We're not talking about that much money.
We're already under budget on enough projects that we can cover
Yes.
that.
Okay.
We've had several come through here that we were under budget on.
Yes, and we're going to do quite a few of these projects in-house. That a lot of that capital, we'll just have the cost of the actual product. The drainage issues we're going to handle in-house. We're going to pour the concrete at Chocowinty Middle School handicap ramp over Easter break ourselves. So we're looking at probably $1,000 to $1,500 in that project. And we had $4,000 budgeted by contracting it outside. So we're planning to do it inside with our maintenance labor.
Okay.
All of my other projects has come under. I've not gone over on no project this year so far. Everything's come under.
With the exception, not your project, but the exception of the passenger van that we purchased?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it went
That
over a
was the
little bit. That's
only
the
one.
only thing that I recall that
It
we
wasn't
went
much.
over.
So we're looking at two separate bids here, is that what we're looking at?
Yes, sir. On the same project.
Okay.
So the actual number you're looking at is the $9,858. They were the winning bid to do the 3 areas that we need done. So I'll bring that back to y'all on the 16th.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine for now.
All right.
I'll hold my comment on that.
What other item do we have on the agenda?
Capital update, you got a.
Yes, just in general, we have awarded transportation fuel canopy. They came out, and we actually came in $100 under budget on it, but they have come out and measured, and that will be started in the next week or so as far as the work. My notes. The awning at Southside High School, that has been awarded. It came in at $895, so we're quite under there. Southside High School. It was $2,000 that was budgeted, and we came in at $895 on that project. And then my other update is the Chocowinty Middle School, and I've already spoke about that.
Chiller at Washington.
Yeah, the chiller at Washington High School. They say it's ahead of time. I asked for a detailed schedule, hoping to have it tonight, and Pete promised me they were coming Thursday to give us a detailed date schedule of when they would actually start the construction and when it would be through on the project. So I'll have that for y'all to report back on the 16th, I hope.
But we were out in school the other day, Walking, you mentioned some dates that we were.
Yeah, they mentioned some dates, but then I talked to Pete after, and he said the chiller was way ahead, probably 2 weeks ahead of schedule on delivery, so they're hoping they can start the project. But Thursday, I will have a true date and times of construction and everything. I've asked for a whole construction window.
Because it'll be
Do you
warm
have any
before you
information
know it.
toward
That's
that?
the
Okay.
deal right there, and if I have anything before Thursday as far as
Okay.
a shipping date, my project manager will let us know, but he's coming out on Thursday.
I had the opportunity to go before the commissioners last Monday to request for those 2 projects that we got approval on, I guess, a couple months ago. One was the compressor at Southside High School, and the other was a heat and air conditioning unit that we replaced out of maintenance money that we didn't really have, and we wanted to make sure that we put that back from capital. We got approval on both of those. In the meantime, as Steve was leaving, I wanted to make sure that we had a very accurate accounting of where we were on capital fund balance. I feel like that was a question that probably would come up with the commissioners, and we certainly need to be thinking about it as we move forward with the project at Eastern. And prior to doing those 2 projects, we were sitting somewhere in the neighborhood of $234,000. Now that includes savings that we've had through the years on projects. The big portion of that is from the insurance that we were able to get money back from, and then we've got some projects that we've got more money that shows up as a fund balance. But when you think about the access road at Chocowinty and some of those other projects that are going to be going on, we had to subtract that from it. So usable, spendable money prior to us doing those 2 projects was just over $234,000. So we'll be somewhere around $200,000 when those 2 projects are completed, just to kind of keep that in your mind as we talk about where we're at. We didn't build contingency into the budget this year. I think we had a $31,000 contingency either last year or the year before that rolled over, but we've not had the luxury of putting contingency in. So just wanted you to know what that number was.
was just going to tell the folks looking at the camera, no, I was not texting on my phone during the meeting. I actually had that number on my iPhone, and I was trying to pull it up as Don was talking. It was $236,000. $236,869. So no, I wasn't texting and meeting and driving and all that
Is
stuff.
our fund balance?
Anticipated balance, yes. Any other questions for Stan? I guess that means you're off the hook. You
Right,
go.
thank you.
Next item up is fundraisers. And is that me? Okay, I think I asked for that, so that must be me.
You know what number it is?
So, what are we talking?
I was going to put the policy up.
Oh, okay, yeah, he may put the policy. I just had a couple of really quick questions about it. Of course, we talked about some fundraisers in our schools probably, it's been a month or two ago, and so I'm not going to get real deep into it. Not going to try to do away with fundraisers or anything like that, so everybody can calm down. But we just want some clarity on our policy. I get a lot of complaints from various schools. This isn't targeted against any one school, schools all across the county. And I knew we had a policy of a couple of fundraisers per semester, per school, but then it's broken down, as I understand, and that's where I want the clarity. Is it per club, per group? Because you can see then that's how we end up with having 6 or 7 or 8 fundraisers at any one time at one school. Nope. And I hear from parents that we're breaking the rules, but I want to just have a quick discussion because I don't think we are. I think that's the way it reads. 2 per. You explain it. I'll let you
the way we've
explain.
interpreted it is 2 per year per school.
2
and then,
per year per school.
Organizations like SGA or PTA, they didn't have a limit that was put on them. But our folks in payroll and finance have had some concerns about fundraisers, and I brought this up at the retreat that we had in January and asked for some clarity. I think we don't want to have our students going out every week with something brand new and fundraisers, because there's a lot of fatigue by families and in the community when we do multiple fundraisers. But we need some clarity. We want some guidance from the board in terms of how you want us to do that. There are things that are done like collecting pennies, or the Jump Rope for Heart, or the Relay for Life, or St. Jude's Children's Miracle Network. Those kinds of things we said we didn't really consider fundraisers. But if they're raising money like cookie dough sales or whatever, I'm not putting any of those down. Those are just typical fundraiser type things. We felt like we needed to limit some of that and make sure that we had a good handle on exactly what was going on. Because sometimes at some places it gets a little bit out of control. There seems to be a new fundraiser every week, and we don't want to have that happen.
Right, and to be clear, I'm not about to bring up the idea of stopping fundraisers for the March of Dimes or any organization like that. But I do think the 2 fundraisers, you said 2 per school per year.
The policy, I wanted to tell you.
I'm not sure that's communicated to everybody, because that's not what's really going on. But the main reason I just wanted to ask this was to get to another point, and I realize that Ms. Harrell, you're very new with us, but you can at least check into this. After reading quite a bit in the news about some other systems that are out here, not necessarily close to us. Do we have really good control around fundraisers? I believe the fundraisers may be, would I be right in saying the responsibility at the school level for them to maintain and keep up with the funds? But I know there's been some systems that's come under some questions with audits and things of not having good controls on all the money, because some of the fundraisers can run into a lot of money. Is that something we should be as a board concerned about? Because quite honestly, I'm in the dark as to who keeps up with the money on all these fundraisers, and is it our responsibility here at central offices to be aware of that? Or that's kind of, I know there's some real vague questions here, but I don't want us to get into any gray area where all the money's being collected if there's no accountability. And I know some systems have come under some fire because of that.
Can you let us touch base with each other, and then we'll come back?
That's all I want you. I don't want to answer right now. I want someone to check and see and make sure that we're okay with whatever systems we have in place. Because it was found out that some systems don't have a system in place. It's just money, and they don't know what they do with it after they collect it.
Well, there's receipting requirements and those kinds of things.
Right.
Fiscal management has to be in place. And that's what our folks here in finance want to make sure that's being done in each one of the schools. And the reasons why you have those checks and balances in place. There's also, should be a second person counting money, and the deposit requirements that are made. All those things need to be followed through. But give me and Lynn a chance to sit
That's
down and
fine.
touch, and we'll come back at the next,
Yeah.
the final board meeting this month, and we'll have a fundraiser topic on there.
Yeah, that's fine. That's all I want to know is what, the things that we're supposed to have, that we do in fact have, and that they're being followed so that we don't end up in the news like I've seen some other folks end up in the news. Okay, that's fine. Personnel, we need a closed session.
I move that we go into closed session pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11, A1, to prevent disclosure of confidential personnel files under General Statute 115C-321.
Okay, I hear a second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to enter into closed session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're in closed session. Okay, we're back in open session, and the first item is, well, the only action item, 6.1, approval of the personnel agenda. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, personnel agenda dated March 9th is approved. Carries us to updates, and I believe we're going to look at the calendar first.
March the 5th, we've already done with the capital tours of our schools, and the next one coming up would be the 13th of March. We pushed off the meeting tomorrow because there's no point having the budget meetings. We haven't finished the capital tours yet. So we get the capital tours taken care of. We'll have that budget meeting on the 16th and start to work on what our capital list would look like, and also the local current expense that we'd be requesting, and getting all that done. So the next capital tour will be on the 13th. We'll invite the commissioners if they'd like to attend. By the way, several of them told me they had a retreat during our last meeting, so they couldn't be there. And on the 16th, we have a special call board meeting for budget planning, which will be at 4:30 here. And then on the 23rd, we have our regular board meeting at 5:30. Minority Hiring Practices Committee will meet at 5 o'clock on the 24th. And then we have another budget meeting scheduled for the 31st of March at 4:30. And we'll just make progress along the way with the budget as much as we can. And we may have to squeeze a few more meetings in April, depending on how things go.
But right now, you do think you're gonna have to have that 31st meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And those of you that are involved with, well, myself, on the Energy Committee, it's meeting on the 17th at 1 o'clock here in this room.
The 17th.
17th at 1 p.m. here in the meeting, in the boardroom.
We're going to take one of our passenger vans to Snowden for the Capitol tours. If anybody wants to ride, either meet here at about 8 o'clock on that date that we're going to do the tour on the 13th, or if you want to catch the ride somewhere else, you can, but we'll carry that van down to Snowden.
I know y'all won't be able to meet at 9 o'clock, so where can I meet you?
If you text me when you're ready to meet us, and I'll let you know where we are.
But Southside tentatively around 10,
Yeah.
10-ish probably. Should be okay. Is that it, Don?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any board member updates?
I'd like to take an opportunity to congratulate the Northside basketball team for making it to the Eastern Regional Finals, and they lost, unfortunately. But they had a great season and represented the county very well.
Okay. Anything else? If not, let me just briefly say a shout out here to Eastern Elementary School for the confusion in some calendars this past week. State Superintendent June Atkinson came down on Friday, and, well, I can only speak for me. I was not aware of that. Somehow I missed that communication, or I would have definitely been there. So my apologies first to June Atkinson for not meeting her at the school, and for the staff and at Eastern, and to board member and author Michael Bcboe over here. I definitely wanted to understand that was not a slight on my part. I would have been there. I don't even have an excuse for not being there, as I was busy. I wasn't even busy. I just didn't know about it. So very sorry about that. And in the future, I personally will try to make sure I'm aware of any DPI people coming into town. And if anybody hears that, what I would say is, don't assume that the rest of us know. If you hear someone's coming to visit one of our schools, let us know. I mean, I know it's not your responsibility to do that, but we'll kind of work together to make sure everybody, because I know sometimes schools set up things that might not even come through the central office. But I definitely don't want Ms. Atkinson showing up again without me meeting her there.
And I'll take responsibility for that, for not letting folks know. I had communicated with her on Thursday night via text and email, and I never heard back from her to let her know that we were having a 2-hour delay. Didn't know what that would do to her schedule. I never thought about notifying board members, and that's my fault. I did call Mark while I was on the road, in fact, going with Northside to the ball game. I found out she was going to be there at 1:30 and asked Mark Dolan to make sure he was there representing student services. But what I did today was remind principals to please let us know. I asked them to let Sarah Hodges and Lisa know so that we've got 2 people who are aware. Anytime we have a dignitary, whoever they want to define as a dignitary, I want to make sure that you all are aware that folks are in the building. Michael, I apologize too. I certainly didn't want to slight you either, but I did let June know. I didn't even know that you were involved in that way until Terry told me today. So please accept my apology.
We have a celebrity on the board.
It was nice.
Well, I did go, and she did a little mini tour of the school and visited some classrooms, and then she read Michael's book and spent a lot of time with the children. It was just one pod that was in there, and of course it was Dr. Seuss week, so some of them had on their one thing, two thing, and green eggs and ham, costumes, and so I think she was very entertained by the children and their costuming, and loved Michael's book. And Jonathan said that the article would be in the education section. He told me Wednesday. I've heard Tuesday, but he told me Wednesday. So tomorrow or Wednesday, be looking for it. Did you?
I think Wednesday's what they said.
Wednesday. That there would be pictures and a story on it, so maybe everybody can read about it.
And there's no need to call me a dignitary. You don't have to do that.
I was impressed. I'm sorry. I was impressed.
Dr. Atkinson is in town,
I got a phone call from my daughter about 10 minutes before she got there and said, hello, are you coming? And so anyway.
It won't happen again.
There you go.
So I would definitely let you
Okay.
know.
I'm really surprised that you don't.
Well, I hate I let you down. I honestly didn't know about it until Thursday night. So I apologize.
And I was going to say, and I won't tell you who he said he thought it was, so let's just move on. Who he thought was coming down.
We have, as you all know, have had a difficult time with weather. And public, we appreciate the patience that folks have shown us. We've been able to build in, we stretched the day out last year when we added time, and several schools kept that in their schedule this year. And then we also went in with 2 additional school days. So we were able to take a look at where we were at, and we have to make up 1 day out of what we've missed. And we're going to take this Friday, which would have been a teacher work day. So we've notified everybody about that. We feel like if we don't have anything else come up, we've been able to preserve Good Friday and our spring break. We don't have to do anything in terms of extending the school year. So we're hopeful that we don't have any more weather episodes that come into play. I said, and I think in our last meeting, it's easy after the calls are made to look out the window at 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock and say he blew it or he got it right. It's hard to do at 4 o'clock in the morning when you don't know about timing, but I am going to always err on the side of trying to take care of our children, so and not put buses on the road. And I'm concerned about the adults and the student drivers that are out there traveling too. But we're going to have to make up a day, but we build in time in our schedule so that it'll be minimal in terms of what we have to do to our schedule.
Okay. Anybody have anything else?
Did you say that they will have Good Friday off?
They will, right now.
Unless something else.
That's right.
Okay. Any other comments? If not, it's that time.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.